to this webinar on navigating the career in biomedical science and research. And on behalf of the Convention for Biomedical Research Ghana, COBREG, we say thank you for being here.
This session is more than a conversation. It's a step forward in building careers, in connecting with others, and building a community within the biomedical sciences. So I hope you're excited because we have a lot more in store for you. At this point, I think it would be good to have our panelists introduce themselves. And so we'll soon rise into that. Let's start with Professor Twumasi, who is a lecturer at biochemistry at KNUST. Prof, please, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, hello, good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
All right. I don't know whether maybe it's my gadget, but it appears your voice a bit low. Maybe if there's a way you can adjust it. But can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so as you indicated, I'm a lecturer at the Department of Biochemistry and Biotechnology at KNUST. I've been with them for a number of years, since 2007. And it happened to be also my alma mater for my bachelor in biochemistry. And then I had the opportunity to also continue further at the Wageningen University in the Netherlands, where I pursued my master's in biotechnology, and then also followed it up with a PhD. I came back to say, I think after all, there has been a number of things that we've done, but I'm sure in the course of the discussions, these things will come up. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Twumasi. Please, Professor Leslie Essel, can you also tell us a bit about yourself? At least what I know right now is that you're an assistant professor at the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences at Quansah in the USA.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
That's right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Okay, so yeah, you got that right. My name is Leslie Brian Essel, and I'm from Ghana. I got my Bachelor of Pharmacy degree at KNUST. Got a master's degree from there as well, and then I moved to the US to pursue a PhD in pharmacology and molecular biology and biochemistry. So I finished with that in May of 2024 and started a position here as an assistant professor in a pharmaceutical sciences division. And basically what I do now is I teach pharmacology and physiology to the PharmD students, which are in our accelerated PharmD program here in Worcester, Massachusetts, at MCPHS University. So it's nice to meet you all, and I hope we can have a very good discussion in this session. Right. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dr. Essel. We want to ask your first question, which is you want us to briefly share your career journey with us, and then what inspired
Samuel,
you to
Samuel, I think Dr. Quansah is here, so perhaps you want Dr. Quansah to introduce herself also.
Oh, that's fine. Yes, Dr. Quansah. I actually wanted you to introduce yourself first, but you were nowhere to be found. We are glad you're able to join us now. So Dr. Quansah is a senior lecturer at the Department of Biotechnology and Molecular Biology at UDS. We'll give you the chance to please introduce yourself to the rest of us.
Dr. Quansah, I think you're muted. If you could kindly unmute for us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, please
Yes, we can hear
go
you.
ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, I've unmuted.
Okay. So can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Lydia Quansah. Currently, I'm a senior lecturer with the University for Development Studies, with the Faculty of Biosciences and the Department of Biotechnology and Molecular Biology. But I am also the HOD for the Department of Forensic Sciences. I had my first degree in UDS in agric technology. Then I did my master's at the Hebrew University in Israel in agricultural sciences. And then my PhD in Ben Gurion University, also in Israel, in agriculture biotechnology. And currently here at UDS, I teach courses in biotechnology in general and also bioinformatics. And I teach undergrad and also postgraduate students. And my research area is interdisciplinary. I do research in agricultural biotechnology, and currently I'm also going into forensic biotechnology. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Quansah, for telling us a bit about yourself. That's a lot of things over there. Quite inspiring. So I will throw the first question to you, if you're ready.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So can you briefly share your career journey and what inspired you to pursue biomedical science and research? Should I take the question again? Dr. Quansah. Please, can you hear us?
I feel Dr. Quansah is having some challenges, so perhaps you can move around the panel.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then
Thank
we can have Dr. Essel
Okay, so
answer that. Should I take the question again?
no, I got it. Got it. Thank you. So like I said, I'm from Ghana, right? And my journey, I would say, started at Prempeh College. Just for the buzz, I would say I went to Prempeh College and I'm Mount 4. Okay, so I went to Prempeh College, moved to KNUST to pursue a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree. And in terms of research, really what got me into that was as a student pharmacist, there were moments when I was in the hospital or in the community pharmacy where I felt helpless, right? Because there wasn't much I could do for my patients and my clients, and it was just because we didn't either understand what they were going through or there weren't just enough therapeutics to take care of their problems. So I thought that maybe if I did some biomedical research, maybe I could help more in that direction. So I channeled a whole lot of my effort into preparing myself for research more than to want to practice pharmacy, and that was it for me. But to pursue this line of research, really, and mostly in pharmacology, I got the inspiration, if you like, from my first advisor, who sadly is not with us anymore, Professor Dr. David Akun Obri. He got me interested in pharmacology, and then he trained me to get the basis in pharmacology and to move on to this level. So he inspired me. The fact that I wanted to be better, or I wanted better therapeutics for my patients and clients, got me into research as well. And so after my master's degree in Ghana, I got opportunity to pursue a PhD at the University of Missouri in Kansas City. And yeah, I still had an interest in pharmacology, so that my major discipline was in pharmacology. But I also understood that molecular biology and biochemistry was key to really understanding certain concepts. So I had that as a co-discipline, but I also pursued a master's degree in cell and molecular biology as well to prop me up in this. And finally, after PhD, I got a chance to get this position as an assistant professor. And yeah, this is where I am now. I'm trying to figure out all there is to research and teaching and professional activities and mentoring students. And yeah, so this has been my journey so far. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so I'm also from Private College. I'm out for
Nice.
serious. All right. So I want to ask you, what are some of the turning points in your career so far? What are some of the pivotal moments that you've had in your career so far?
So after primary college, what I didn't mention was I actually wanted to go to a medical school. So I had gone to UG, University of Ghana, and spent 2 whole years there. And I don't see that as a waste of time, because it was all part of the experience that I got. So after University of Ghana, I had to restart my career, restart life. I went to the pharmacy school at KNUST. But that I found fulfillment in pursuing pharmacy. The pharmacy school was tough, just like any course that you take in Ghana. I would say it was really tough, but it was what put me in the position to have an interface with patients and clients, and then want to learn more or pursue higher education. So restarting my life after UG was key. Having the chance to pursue pharmacy in Ghana was a key pivotal moment. Having the chance to get mentored by the late DDO was also key, and getting the chance and opportunity to move from Ghana to the US to pursue multiple degrees and get multiple exposures, and have get the skills and qualifications to start off as a professor is it's wonderful. Yeah, so these will be my pivotal moment. Yeah.
Okay. That was a long one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll let you take a break for now, and then we'll move to Professor Twumasi. So, Prof, for students and early career professionals, what are the key skills or experiences you believe are most critical to succeed in this field?
Yeah, hello. If you can repeat the question again once more.
Okay, so please, can you hear me?
Yes, a bit better. Yeah.
Okay, for students and early career professionals, what are the key skills or experiences you believe are most critical to succeed in this field?
All right. Okay. I think my earlier panelist has illuminated all those kind of challenging steps. I think if you use him as a as a role model. I think he has, for a typical Ghanaian student and the challenges that they go through, I think he has enumerated all of them. Many may not be able to probably make a concrete decision of what they really want to do. I think it's typical. If you take about 100 students in Ghana and you ask them maybe when they have made it to the top and say that was it your plan to get here? I think about 80% will say actually no, they plan something different. Like myself, but I think what is really very important that it cuts across, and then at the end of the day, whichever field that you find yourself in, is hard work. Hard work. It doesn't matter. I think we did hear about it in the basic school, the secondary school, wherever we find ourselves. I think our instructors used to say hard work, working hard. And you want to work hard if you have a goal. So setting a goal, which then will then direct you to really put in much more effort, which is the hard work and discipline. Even it doesn't matter where you end up, eventually it will take you to some place. And I think that's the thing that everybody needs to work on it. I think I've had a number of interactions with students, case studies that we could use, who probably maybe a little bit of gas, a little bit of energy input help them to be able to overcome many of these. One selection, I think is difficult if you are coming from Ghana. I wrote a whole book about my early educational experience, a book entitled Rising from the Farmhouse. I mean, a farmer's child. We used to compete with each other for the top positions in class, but we never knew what we were going to use it for. Then I get to the secondary school, Quansah Academy, and then, well, you are not even still sure of what you can do after Quansah Academy or maybe secondary school. So just try. But you want to be the best among your peers. But as to what we really could do, I think those times it wasn't very easy. Nowadays, I think many of us who have had experience like what you are doing right now have had some of these experiences that they are going back to some of these schools, basic schools and secondary schools, to share their experience. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
We can hear you.
But it isn't too loud.
It's loud.
No, it isn't too loud. It isn't loud enough.
Wow. But is it better now?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, then maybe probably I have to get closer to the computer. So as I was saying, lots of Ghanaians, maybe in the past, and probably even currently, still we just do have the same issue. The career path in terms of education is not clear to many of them. I think what is really clear is about you performing better against your peers wherever you find yourself. As to what you do with it, probably it wasn't. Maybe now we are helping with the, thanks to people like you, who are also maybe probably organizing some of these expertise and sharing some of their experiences with students. I think maybe it's to go a long way to help. But in our time, I think we have had lots and lots of these kind of challenges. But hard work, and a discipline. I think once we're able to really get these things, ingredients, then I think the sky is your limit. I think that's the area I want to hammer more on it. Students get opportunity to study wherever they find themselves. Maybe they had wished to really go to medical school or pharmacy or whatever. It may not help, but whichever way you set a goal, and with the hard work and discipline, you can make it. I've known students who were not very good, but then probably when they adjusted the way they had to do, deal with their academic work, attendance in terms of lectures, consulting for more advice from their instructors and all that, and they had better stories to tell. So I will put all together and say hard work. It doesn't matter where you find yourself, work hard to be on top of your peers. And that's what I was saying.
Thank you, Prof, for that. That is inspiring. I have other questions for you later. When I was reading about you, I realized you had a research in nutritional cleanse, and I also have a research in nutritional cleanse and nutrition. So I want to ask you those questions later on. But for now, I want to ask Dr. Quansah, please, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry about my network,
Yes.
but I think now I'm okay.
Okay, wonderful. So I want to ask you, for women in early career development, how do you balance the aspect of research and your personal life?
Thank you for the question. That's a very interesting question as a woman, to balancing my research or academic career with family life. The truth is that it's not easy. And in fact, I always say it. I started my family quite late. I had my first child near my late 30s. So I'm still having a little boy. So combining that with research is not easy. So what I've done is to mentor some students who currently help me in my area of research. So in fact, my current senior research assistant is the one who kind of supervise most of my undergrad students, and then I do most of the postgraduate students, whilst I'm at the background, shaping the how to do it and not. As a woman in academia, doing research and teaching and raising family, it's not easy. So in order to balance it, one of the most important things is to have what I call support system. So support system is having friends who kind of can support you. So for instance, currently my children are on vacation and I have to be at work. So the question is that, how should I bring them to work or not? So I have a friend who is also a lecturer in UDS, but different campus. So we kind of balance. We look at the time that she has lectures. Then I look at my children, kind of babysit my children and her children. And today that I have to be at work, she is babysitting my children and her children. So for the personal life, that is what I do. You need to have a support system. And then the same way, in order to rise in your career life, you need to mentor, you need to identify hardworking students who you can mentor to help you, because if not that you can. I always make a joke that by 3-4 o'clock, I have to leave the office to go and pick my children. My colleague men can be here till 10 p.m. They are writing papers. I cannot compete with them. So if I do not have mentees that I can actually work with and help me, I wouldn't be where I am. And I always say that. And aside that, also even within my workplace here, I collaborate a lot with my colleagues, especially the men, so that, we do a research together, we supervise students together. So when we are writing paper, it's easier because, I pull half, the person pulls half. So it's always easier that we can publish. And I always say that without that, I don't think that I would have been able to publish enough in order to, and I'm sure you all know that in the academia, it's publish or perish. So it's publication to get to where you are. So even senior lecturer, when I came to UDS, a lot of people were telling me, oh, Lydia, you need to apply. And I was like, I don't have the papers. So colleague just came. I have one, he's like a mentor to me. He just called me and said, Lydia, we are going to write papers together. And he really helped me to write papers, from research. We did research and then we wrote the papers and I was able to use it to apply for my promotion. So you really need support system and also mentees in order for a woman. I think for men, it's okay, but for a woman, and especially if you are raising younger family. So this is what I can say about how to progress in your academic, combining it with your personal life. Thank you.
All right, Doc. There's a follow-up question. You have mentioned a few challenges you've encountered just by the fact that you are a woman in academia. And you've mentioned how we need mentorship, we need to collaborate with our colleagues, as well as have a solid support system that you can rely on. Those are all great. Can you go on ahead and tell us about other challenges that you've encountered because you are a woman in this field, in the science field? Just tell us some of the challenges you've encountered so far, generally, and also because you're a woman.
Okay. I think for me, I will say that, I mean, there is nothing like challenges that you encounter when it comes to the research aspects. But probably the only place that probably you will encounter challenges is being in a leadership position and also combining it with your, academic work. I don't know whether the challenges are actually external or actually myself, because as an HOD, I always ask myself, am I performing to what the other men are doing? Because, for instance, in my faculty, I'm the only woman who is a PhD. I mean, the whole faculty management, I'm the only woman in the management board. All the other departments, it's men who are heading it. So as a woman, you're always asking yourself, what are they talking about me? Are you performing enough? Especially because when you have meetings, sometimes you come in late. I always joke that you are ready to leave the house. Then one of your children is like, Mommy, I don't feel well, this. So it's kind of, you're always late or something. And so you come in late and you're asking yourself, do they think that you are like that or not? So the challenges for me personally, I don't know the other people, it's me sometimes questioning my own abilities of being a good leader. Okay. But aside that, I think the other things is also grants. For instance, it's so difficult getting grants. Okay. And in the sciences, without grants, you can't do anything. So most of my research is like self-funded, and then self-funded, you can't do much. I mean, Dr. Essel will say when you're outside, and I mean, from my profile, you see that I was almost 10 years in Israel. I did my master's, my PhD, and then I did 2 years of postdoc. I was exposed to so many equipment. Then I come to Ghana and there is nothing. So all your research is like basic. Sometimes I ask myself, what kind of research am I doing? Because mostly I did a lot of molecular biology. I did a lot of metabolomics. But in Ghana, how many institutions even have the GCMS, the LCMS, and all that? So for me, the most challenging for me as a woman is mostly having grants and then having the equipment to do, I mean, research that you think is internet, you can compete with those who are outside or international, okay? Because you feel like, oh, the research I'm doing is nothing. I did a paper where we look at a herbal medicine, and I had so many ideas I wanted to do, metabolomics, looking at how temperature affects the secondary and primary metabolite. And then I took I went to a Ghana Standard Authority to give me a quotation, and I couldn't afford it. One sample, they were mentioning $20, and I was having about, there is no way you can afford it. So I think the challenges mostly I face is, getting grants and also acquiring equipment to do a very good research that you can feel proud of, that, oh, this research is worth it. It's not that the expertise, I don't have the expertise, it's there, but you just don't have the, the equipment. And sometimes I try to overcome it by, I collaborate with my supervisor in Israel, but sending samples is a big challenge. In Israel, I'm sure you all know the security system. So once you are sending and then you say that it's biological, it never gets to the lab. They take it, they say they are testing to make sure, and eventually they are not able. So the only thing I can get my sample is probably when I'm going there physically, which I can't, because as I told you, I'm raising a younger family. So I guess these are some of the challenges that I face as a woman in the area of science and research. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Quansah, for that. We'll come back to you again. Dr. Essel, we want to ask you, what are the emerging trends in biomedical research? And then what are the opportunities that would emerge in the next 5 to 10 years that we can look at?
Okay. So I think that AI is taking over. It's AI everywhere I go. I mean, I am a bit cautious about it because I don't really understand the implications of letting AI take over, but that is where we are heading to, right? And I was just at a training event, and one of the participants works for a pharmaceutical company, which uses AI to identify targets, and then validate those targets, and then find therapeutics for the targets that have been validated, and all in a bid to find therapeutics for cancer. So where we are heading to is getting maybe powerful computational power to really do these things, right? But that doesn't really take away from our abilities as biomedical scientists, right? Because like in my colleague's case, like AI can tell you something based on it looking at a whole lot of information that has been fed to it, right? But in the end, we still have to validate those targets or those hits that we get. So we are still relevant, right? But as we really work on being better scientists, we also have to make room for some of these things like AI in everything, right? So the opportunities that I see coming will be to have a scientist who can do a bit of both worlds, right? Understand how to apply these artificial intelligence and machine learning to solve real life problems. And yeah, so you just have to prepare for that. Okay, so increase your capacity as a scientist, but also incorporate AI and machine learning. Yep. Yeah, so that is my answer.
That sounds good. So, as Doug said, incorporate AI if you can in whatever field of science or biomedical science you're in. That will really help because we are stepping into the age of AI. In fact, we are already in the age of AI. Okay, so this next question will go to Prof. Twumasi. What advice would you give to someone who feels uncertain or overwhelmed about choosing a specific path in biomedical science?
Your question is about which of the specific areas of biomedical sciences?
Yes, so somebody wants to choose a specific path in biomedical science, but they are feeling uncertain, they are feeling overwhelmed. What advice will you give to them? Should they go ahead even though they are scared, or should they pause and think about stuff? What advice do you have for people?
Yes, but we are lucky. If you find yourself in biomedical sciences or life sciences in general, I think you have so many options, very unlimited options. And all of them are very relevant. Probably sometimes we may want to overburden ourselves with the world, the trend, the scientific trends at the global level. But mind you, locally, or at the national level, there are lots and lots of issues that we are confronted with, which we as a scientist have never been able to provide solutions for all. Don't look beyond it and don't go too far. There are a lot. Every one of them are very relevant for our economy. So in the area of food and nutrition, I think this is huge. The nutrition aspect of it is very huge. And if you happen to be a biomedical scientist, it doesn't matter which field that you find yourself, there is also some convergent points, some areas of applications that you can also connect to nutrition. You can connect to food security, food safety. These are very huge things. I mean, people may be wanting to invest more into how we can also maybe advance in and AI and sort of things like that. But then in terms of the impact, what is really impacting our health, our lives here in Ghana, here in Africa, I think probably maybe we are not actually supposed to put more of emphasis, our efforts over there. But we have our local problems, local issues that the scientists are very much needed. Nutrition, I mean, how much food do we even produce in this country? People say that what kind of food that can really resolve some of these problems that we have, the non-communicable diseases, is abundant. Every aspect of biomedical science that can contribute to the solutions to our non-communicable diseases that are rocketing is huge. The impact is huge. You understand? Let's talk about even the animal health. Plenty. People say maybe veterinary, but biomedical scientists can also find themselves in all these other fields, and that's it. So for me, I think we should not, as a Ghanaian, and especially if you in our dispensation, where you find countries becoming a bit more selfish, looking at solving their own local problems before going elsewhere. Trump has led the way. If you really are thinking about maybe funding that is going to come from the US, forget it. But if a farmer unskilled, without skills, uneducated, is still able to really mobilize a little bit of resources around his own jurisdiction to be able to produce food to feed us, I don't think that we have an excuse. We may think about maybe probably big funding to be able to really create a state-of-the-art laboratory so that you work within. You don't need that. I must tell you, if you go to places, most of our educational institutions, like tertiary institutions, there are lots and lots of equipment that are scattered all over, and they are hardly being used. In fact, in terms of their usage, the efficiency is so poor. I mean, we need to make efficient utilization of all. And sometimes maybe you need just a pH meter to be able to really get the data which America will not be interested in collecting in our jurisdiction. But you may be able to do that. You can publish. You may need just a pipette to be able to do some small things. But all these small things solve problems. And if you have looked at some of my papers that I've written, or the research work that I've carried out over the years, you may look at it as ordinary, but these are solving problems. For example, we did a work on toxicity of our urban agricultural lands. And people say, oh, but what is this? We wanted to look at heavy metallic accumulations of that at these fields being available. KMA had this kind of problem. They consulted us. How can we do it? Simple technologies, simple techniques, and we resolve it. Then a bylaw is then immediately issued out of this research, and now controlling fields that can be used for growth and others not. And you can imagine the impact that it's making. People out there, maybe before this, either to were consuming food from these kind of toxic, contaminated fields and developing kidney issues and all that, which are very critical and very real to ourselves. But we were overlooking it and chasing big, space technologies. But I think we can do it. So young people in the field of biomedical science, I think you have a lot interdisciplinary. Don't fix yourself to one corner. Just look at, it should be problem-driven, our own national problem-driven research. Look at the problems we have. We are eating food alongside all the roads. The cook or the seller does not really care about contamination today, but we all consume it. What kind of biomedical research can be carried out to be able to at least, if not eliminate it entirely, but minimize it? But the minimization of about 5% of it, the impact on the national health is huge. What can we do? This is the galamsey thing that is going on. As for the goal, people definitely will want to extract it. But we as a scientist, what can we do to be able to really have a harmless extraction of in terms of effect on health, effect on the environment? Huge. And people who are even mining it without any knowledge, that technology, who are mining it, they are making lots of money out of it. So if the scientists will want to bring this kind of expertise to say, well, the mining can go on, but then we can also provide certain techniques such that even when the mining is done, we can recover. Engineer and probably get our side back to its natural state. Who is doing that? People are really in need of water. That, oh, okay, water is a very important part of this mining system. We need to get our whatever is really mined washed. Can scientists come and say that maybe a chemist said that, well, I have also found a certain technique that we can even clarify the water that is muddied and extract all those and then pump them back into the stream that we have. You may consider that, oh, maybe this is ordinary, but it's a huge impact, huge. And I think that's my objective I set right from the beginning, that there are problems which are not of interest, of any interest to the Europeans. The Americans have no interest. The Asians do not care about it, but we do care. So if it happens that we are homegrown scientists, then we have to come immediately back, and whatever we have learned, it doesn't matter if you really were made to become a pharmacist or you are biotechnologist, or there are certain issues that are within your own environment that you can fix. People say that when we do a lot of courses, then eventually when we get out of school, we apply even not about 3% of what we have learned. So the other 93%, 97% of what we are not utilizing, have you checked within your environment and see whether you cannot apply? And if you apply them, all of them are having huge, huge impact. Maybe another thing that maybe I may want to encourage our colleagues who are in the science, find themselves to be in the science, that they should also not be uninterested in whatever happens at the decision-making level. And that is where probably we have failed. Yeah, in the past, in the improvement days and all that, the best IQs were all put into science because they were the golden eggs. People were feeling that Ghana will become the Ghana we want because of these high IQ individuals who can manage our science. And even today, if you have been at the KNUST, maybe in the department, and they look at your average and say, hey, this is 111, and then you have to go and do medicine. Maybe the person probably may not be needed in medicine. But if it happens that he becomes a medical scientist, he should also not avoid making contribution to the decision that is taken to really apportion the resources that we have as a state to the various areas. So scientists say, no, the science, my madam is talking about the funding is so difficult. Even international, you can't compete. National is not there. Local is not there. Even the universities, the fees that we collect, how much of it is allocated for research? We don't. Of you, the work that you do, how much of the money that you really collect, that you set aside for research to improve upon your own life? There's none. But it should be a culture now. It's good that Americans are pulling out, so that now you realize that, oh, well, I've been doing this, but I want to do it better. So when I get the resources, I get my money, at least a certain portion of it, 10%, 20% have to be set aside. But these decisions are made by people who have no clue about what you really need to do at the scientific level. And you, the scientists who really would have really advocated for more of it to be allocated, you are not there. You are not there. So you leave it in the hands of the social scientists to decide for you how much will go into research. And they give you 0.2% of all our money, the GDP. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But the scientists who really needs and requires them say that maybe the next future, our oil that we produce maybe can be converted to a certain product. You're also not interested. So I think that there are a lot we can do. Wherever you find yourself, there are also many opportunities. Just look for the areas where you can really apply yourself to and make a difference.
So just to remind everybody, Samuel, just remind everybody, this is a panel discussion for COBREG, the Convention for Biomedical Research. And so we want to thank everybody who is on the line and listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the Q&A box. And we have one question that I felt I needed to read before we move on to the next topic of conversation. And so we have a question from Evans Thompson. Before I read Evans' question, we were thinking the same thing. So COBREG has a lot of members, both in Ghana and outside Ghana, professional and students. And some of the members, in fact, most of the members trained outside, some of them trained in Ghana, and some of them are pursuing their careers outside of Ghana, like Essel. Some of them decided to return to Ghana and help in Ghana. Luckily for us, all our members, even those outside Ghana, regularly come to Ghana to assist in one way or the other, like the way Dr. Essel is here with us. They come to our conferences and so on. The question that we get a lot of from our members, especially the young ones, is, should I stay in Ghana or should I leave? I know, Prof. Twumasi, you had the chance to stay if you wanted to. Dr. Quansah, I'm sure you could have also found a job somewhere outside of Ghana. Dr. Essel, you stayed with the dollars, but you still contribute. So Evans is saying that our universities and research institutions are choked and opportunities abroad are more competitive than ever. So what plans do we have to improve research capacity in Ghana? And he's asking if there are current conversations on improving research capacity and what is being done. And so he wants to know from Prof. Twumasi if we have the capacity to tackle these challenges. And then maybe Dr. Essel can also give us his perspective from someone who is currently pursuing his career in the US. What do we do to convince young people to help, even if they are here or not?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a very important question that you asked. I must say that there must always be a national agenda. If that agenda is well thought through and established, I think all these issues about I'm done acquiring some further education and knowledge and whether I should go back to my country or not. But I think every country wants to develop and progress and never also be weighting their resources to other nationals. You understand? And if so, if Ghana has gotten to that level, then definitely I think it's not a matter of how much developed in terms of our research stations and laboratories are in Ghana, but there must be a common agenda that will really also then coordinate all that. In China, I think you remember some years ago, China had nothing, but then they were training people abroad the same way we also had opportunity to be trained. And immediately after they are trained, they go back and build. That's what I believe. If there's an agenda that we all plug into it, that we will want to support the development of our nation that we love, Ghana. We never got born anywhere, but Ghana, it means that God really had a plan for us. I think I'm not waiting for somebody to really get that agenda done or a system in place before I want to move back. I want to use my experience that I had in Netherlands. I was there after my master's. It was adjudged as one of the best theses. I was offered a PhD opportunity, almost about 1 million euros project. We finished, and then just before I finished, then the Dutch government had awarded me a permanent residence to bring all my family and all that to stay. And then they offered me a job, stay, because they know you are a very good material. They've invested nothing in you, but Ghana has made you, and then they just put you. But I felt if I stay in Ghana, fine. In terms of personal achievement, maybe it's fine. I'll be happy. I'll get money. My salary will be good, better. Maybe it was almost about 5 times what the NEM professor was collecting and so on. But then I look at this way. What would be the impact that I've been making? Even if I was to be even giving so much of people to train in the Netherlands, but I think it will not be as much as what I would be confronted with if I come to Ghana. So my knowledge dissemination will be quite high in Ghana relative to Netherlands. I look at it, and Ghana also requires more of this expertise. And even we, over the years, have always been begging other nationals to come over as experts to train or to support some of our systems. So why will we want to stay out even when we are done and performing even better, probably even than their own nationals? I think I have no, maybe it's my personal belief. I have no excuse to remain. No matter how I was enticed, I had to come back. And I never regret. I've never regretted for doing so. When I came back and then I was able to mobilize some equipment from Netherlands, and I came to establish the first DNA laboratory in the KNUST attached to the biochemistry department. Now we're getting data that we could publish also in high impact factor journals, and the publications started coming up. Some of the equipment supported the food science department and then the biological sciences, and a huge impact. I was training people, and every year I was training maybe probably graduating by hundreds of students, some PhDs, some MSc, and so on and so forth. I felt more satisfied with it. Because if you sustain this one and maybe more people contribute to it, then with time, probably we'll also be able to compare ourselves to other advanced nations. I think this has to be sustained. It doesn't matter how creative things are over there, or probably how messy our laboratories and research arrangements is done over here. But somebody must take the lead. You have acquired a certain specific knowledge that you alone could be the best to be able to establish. When I came, I think I was given an office. I had just students, a lecture table, and then a plastic chair, but I was not disappointed. I felt this is my home, this is the place. I saw the target. And then just within a very few years, I had made so much impact. So I believe it's a patriotism in a way, or nationalism, that we can't fail our nation. It doesn't matter whether our leaders over the years have failed, but you yourself now have also become a leader, and that there are a lot of the country needs from you. The impact that you can make here is far greater than if you were to stay back. Maybe if you are going there for knowledge acquisition, so we want that. We want to tap into their knowledge creation, and then but once you are fully charged, I don't think there's a need for you to stay over there. But you say, well, the situation has to change and get better here. It is when you are here and your own direction, that is how we're going to contribute to the national discussions and decisions to be able to really make our system also better, as good as over there, so that I think our young ones probably in future will not even need to travel over there for training, but they can stay here. Now, KNUST is doing so well. I remember when I came in 2007, we're graduating PhD, but not as many as we have now. Now the expertise are so much. Many people have gone, they've come back and contributed so much. Some are getting their PhDs here of quality, which is as good as any other place. I'm making collaborations, countries are coming, but they see what we are doing now. The forensic department, I remember I was in India, I brought some professors here, we came to establish it because of Santia PhD, then even IGP, who was also into ballistics training, and we took him as a part-time lecturer. So many people were able to. But if you had not established the foundation yourself, and you were waiting for it to be built before you come, you can't make that impact. So I'm encouraging more people. It may be discouraging, disheartening to say, oh, I'm leaving all these juicy things, but you have to leave. You have to go back and build and rebuild. Thank you.
Dr. Essel, you have another perspective?
So, let's see. So research, right? As just reading the question again, and it talks of the universities and research institutions being choked. So here in the US, the industry that employs the most PhDs really are the pharmaceutical industry. It's not really universities or colleges or anything like that, but the pharmaceutical industry and the folks who sell all of these instruments that we use, right? Say Biorad, Thermo Fisher. This is the other part, other entity that employs a lot of PhDs as well. So the research and the reason why they employ so many PhDs is because they do a ton of research. They do more, if you ask me, more research than we do in the universities, right? Because that is their product. That is how they develop their product. They understand that this is what we need to get to market, and this is the expertise we need to get that product to the market, right? So there should be, if you ask me, there should be avenues to employ a lot of people with masters and PhDs outside of the universities and research institutions. So it seems to me from the question that there's this, it's a closed system. Like if you had a PhD in Ghana or elsewhere, you have to, and I don't know, I'm just I'm getting this from the question, like you have to end up at a university. So if there are no positions, then you kind of get stuck, right? But there should be other avenues available for these talents as well, and picking back on Dr. Twumasi's submission, right? It takes policy, right? We acknowledge that we have problems, but do the policymakers know that there is the expertise available to solve these problems? If we can get that started, right, we can now maybe shift our focus. I mean, keep the university research, but shift our focus to establishing other avenues that can, you know, look at, just pick that problem and look at solving it as well. Then we can create, you know, relevance in research, and we can employ or get more of our talents there as well. So the first thing I would say is the policy, right? Get government or whoever is in authority to buy into this. Number two is what I really said, that this is it's outside research, like it's for-profit research that employs talent, right? So let's also create the market for that. Like if we are interested in solving problems, where we can have partnerships, like have these companies come in or set up companies that are just targeted at bringing something to the market, whether it's a hard product or it's a therapeutic. So I think that number one is really creating the opportunity to get people to buy in and to get people involved, right? It doesn't really necessarily have to be have to be at the university to do research at the university. I mean, I'm aware there is Noguchi and the other research institution at KNUST, but we should have the chance to, you know, buy into research and be focused on research, and to have other opportunities outside of these institutions to also be interested in what we do. But so for me personally, I found fulfillment where I am at, and it somehow works for me. So, but I'm also happy to participate in instances like this, and to help out. I had a friend who was putting together a guide to help people, or to help students, you know, to better their chances to get certain opportunities elsewhere as well. That is how he's giving back, right? So the opportunities, right? There are ways. My friend, one of my very good friends, who really helped me, Dr. Isaac Amo is a lecturer at KNUST as well. He felt the need to be around to help answer some of these questions, right? And that is good, but there are sometimes instances where it's, you know, reintegrating is a bit hard. People have told me stories about a whole lot of other things, but yeah, it's how best that you can help out, right? If it's being you know, coming in, trying to help, it's good. If you can contribute in another way, it's very good. But either ways, we have to really get policymakers to buy into the fact that this is how people make it. Just like Dr. Twumasi said, this is how countries have made it, right? Extensive research, just find that one problem, dedicate resource to it, and then you can find solutions that may go past your problem to solve other people's problems, and that will be a source of revenue. Right. All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks a lot. Now this is a little unconventional. Evans Thompson, the one who asked the question, we've invited him to clarify. He wants to clarify his question.
Hello.
Evans.
Hello.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Good morning, or is it afternoon? Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the interaction. So it's like Prof and Dr. Essel have touched on bits of the question, with the reality that we don't have the capacity here. But the reason I asked this was because year in, year out, we are training people. And as Prof rightly said, there are a ton of expertise from our own institutions, from the universities. But the question is, where are they going, even though they want to do something, right? So we talked of Noguchi, we talked of Wakbek, all of these, but they already have researchers who are working there and bringing out research outputs. But the question still stands, where are the young ones going? Where do they go? And talking of institutions abroad, the biotechs and the big farmers and all those institutions, we should also bear in mind that they are serving their own people. So the Europeans are looking for Europeans to work there and looking at less international people. So that's why I asked, what are the conversations on creating capacity in Ghana? And like Prof and Dr. Essel rightly said, it has to be a question of policy, talking about creating policy and talking to the people in charge. But what I'm saying is that we should, you being people at the helm of issues, we should start talking about these things to improve on the capacity that we have, because in reality, any country develops with research. And like the example given with China wasn't as powerful as it was 10 years ago, and now it's doing so much, and some of the research they are doing is mind-blowing. And it's disheartening when you look at the situation in Ghana, where you have so much talent that the global north is taking advantage of, but yet still we don't have the capacity to even take our own people to do such research. So that was the reason, that was the basis and the context of my question. I'm happy we've touched on bits of it, but then I also want to charge us listening and the faculty here that we should begin such conversations on the matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Evans. So something that I'll be remiss if I don't mention this. So COBREG was started by the Ghana Biomedical Research Network, which was a group formed by biomedical researchers in the diaspora. And as part of their way of helping out, they, in collaboration with their colleagues in Ghana, set up a COBREG. And so there are people who are trying to increase capacity and so on. One thing though, will take the conversation a little back, is all our panelists mentioned the importance of mentorship. Dr. Quansah had mentors, Dr. Essel had mentors, and Prof himself also had mentors. Perhaps our panelists can tell us a little bit more about the impact of mentorship in helping you navigate your career or your way in biomedical science. Any of you can answer, maybe Dr. Quansah or Prof Twumasi. What's the impact of your mentors in helping you decide where or where to go with your career? Because a lot of times our young people, sometimes if you're lucky in certain institutions, you are assigned a mentor, but I don't think that's a limit. Sometimes you also have to go out and seek mentors. So can you tell us a little bit about the impact of mentorship for your own career and for the young ones?
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
So,
okay, go ahead, madam.
Okay. So just like you mentioned, mentorship is very important. The question that Evans asked, at least for my part, one of the things I'm realizing is that a lot of the students we are having now don't want to put in the work. They just want to make it, but without working. So for instance, I had an undergrad student who came to me. She's a lady that she wanted me to mentor her. Then I gave her kind of something, a work for her to do for me so that I see her seriousness. And I gave her a timeline. I never heard from her, and then the deadline passed. Then I saw her, and then you know what she told me? She said, Dr. Quansah, I don't want the mentorship again. So I realized that they want to get out there, but they don't want the mentorship. It doesn't come on a silver platter. I already mentioned that I have a senior research assistant who has been working so hard. So to answer Evans's question, you need mentorship. And although the person will guide you, you need to also go out there and seek for the opportunities. And just like you were asking, I think now Ghana has the capacity to train students, whether PhD, MPhil, MSc, because when I was in UDS back in 2001 as an undergrad student, you can count the number of PhDs we had here. All my lecturers who taught me, I don't think there was anyone who had a PhD. Down the line 20 years ago, almost even my own mates that we completed here, majority of us, in fact, my mates from UDS, quite a number of them are now full professors in the university. So the opportunities are there, but I think when PhD students finish, and especially there is this entitlement. I don't know whether any of you have seen it. I don't know if it's a Ghanaian, now a new Ghanaian thing with students, but students think that once they work with you, it is your duty to find them the opportunities. But it is not like that. And the opportunities are there. Even if you are trained here as a PhD, the opportunities are there. There are a lot of, aside the universities, Council for Scientific into Industrial Research, they have a lot of subsidiary research institutions that one can apply. But the question is that, are the students even aware? I teach postgraduate students, and I ask them even the institutes under CSIR, and they cannot mention them. So if you don't have this in your fingertips, then when you finish your PhD or your master's, how do you even apply for the job? It's not the mentor. The mentor is just going to guide you, but it is your duty to find this opportunities for yourself. And always people will say that in Ghana, it is whom you know. And I always tell people that no, it is not whom you know. When I completed my PhD in 2013, I did a 2 years postdoc in Israel. Then when I was in Israel, a former professor of mine sent me a message that he's heading as a dean in a private university and they want to establish the Faculty of Agriculture. So he would like me to come down. I was doing postdoc, being paid very well. I just turned in my resignation and I came down to Ghana to help in the establishment. But I had already applied to UDS. And then people kept telling me that, oh, if you don't know anyone in UDS, you won't get it. And I told them that it's not true. If you have the relevant qualification, it will come. I applied to UDS in 2013. It was up until 2016 that they called me. And then I came here as a lecturer. So the opportunities are there and you need to, and prior to that, I had written, I always wanted, just like Prof. Twumasi was saying, I never had a desire to stay abroad, even though I stayed in Israel for almost 10 years, travel for conferences, you know, going to Europe, China. I mean, in a way you say, oh, you know, you will just stay and then get the dollars. But I always wanted to come back to Ghana and give, and especially to my alma mater in UDS. And then I felt like I can give my all in Ghana than staying abroad. So the job is there. But even now, the PhD students, well, I don't know about the other institutions, but in Ghana, I'm always complaining to my colleagues that the MPhil and the PhD students, you teach them, you give them work. They're always complaining. I have an MPhil student I'm teaching. When I give them articles to read and then to critique, they always complain, oh, madam, we have other assignments. And I'm like, no, this is the time you people have everything at your fingertips. You take your phone and the whole world is on your phone and you are complaining. When I was doing my first degree in UDS, we didn't have that. I mean, the phones were even scarce. I didn't have my phone till I completed UDS. So now the capacity is there to train. And then if you want the job, it's there. But the question is that, are these postgraduate students ready to put in the work? Because even when you are mentoring them and then you want to give them more job, they are complaining. They'll rather be on their phone rather than doing research, rather than learning more. Because I feel like sometimes they want you to give them, to feed them everything. Even as a postgraduate student, they want you to feed them everything. Meanwhile, you need to go out there and then do the research. So the capacity is here to build on new students that will get the capacity. And once they get the capacity, the work is here. But the truth is that, do you even go out there to look for the opportunities? So I think that the capacity is there. So Evans, your question as to abroad is choke. Abroad, Ghana, the capacity is here. If you want to go abroad to, is there. But now, just like you said, the competition is high. But are you ready to put in the effort? A lot of students are using AI. So if you do your personal statement and you use AI, that means it's not really from you. You don't really know what you want to do. So if the committee sits on your personal statement, they put it through Turnitin or AI, and then they detect that you use AI and someone did it personally, where do you think that they will take? They'll rather go in for the person who did it because they will see that that person is serious. So now, the postgraduate student that we are training, for me, especially at least for those we are training in UDS here, I feel like they are not doing much. And I always tell them that postgraduate is not like undergrad. Undergrad, I kind of teach. Postgraduate, I guide you. So you need to do the research and learn. And I always tell people in Israel, I only had meetings with my supervisor once a month. He told me, Lydia, this is what I wanted you to do. Now I need to develop my protocols, everything. We sit on it. I tell him, and then he said, okay, good. But here, postgraduate students want you to do everything for them. Even if you tell them, they don't want to win. So I thought, well, I don't know about KNUST, I don't know about UG and the other universities, but for me, the caliber of postgraduates we are training currently, sometimes I feel like they are the reason why probably they feel like there is no work, but the work is there. CSIR, there are people there, but yet if you go and then they know you are bringing something good on board, why not? They can give you, and then if it's outside you want to go, obviously they want to know that you are giving them better, just like Dr. Essel finished, and they saw the quality and then they retained him. And I'm sure Prof. Twumasi had a chance to stay, the same thing I had a chance to stay, but we decided to come down to Ghana. So the capacity for building on new students are there in Ghana. I don't think, because just like 20 years ago, how many people had PhD in Ghana? But now, even full professors, very young people under 40 are full professors in all over the country. So we have people who can train, but the thing is that the postgraduate students that we are training, are they ready to do the work, even when you are mentoring them? Thank you.
Thank you. Prof, did you have something to add?
Yes, I think she said it all. In terms of the mentoring, I think many of our institutions in Ghana have an inbuilt kind of mechanism. I think you remember KNUST, the biochemistry department in particular. I think we went a bit further from the traditional students tutorship to mentoring. Which means that every student, even at the bachelor level, is assigned to a particular person to be guided. And when it comes to the postgraduates, I think then they even do have to be much more attention from lecturers, because traditionally our culture, I think once you are with an elderly person who can guide you to be successful in life, I think it's also could be referred to as a mentor. That's not. So I think those kind of services are available, and we do support a lot. I remember when I joined KNUST, I had a number of people who worked directly under me. Some of them had to stay work in my offices, in my labs, and got bachelor students who were even publishing some of their research works, guided to be able to secure some admissions and encouraging them to come back when they have really been built for that purpose. So I think those kind of mentoring is there, and on various platforms, especially the Ghana Science Association, where I happen to also be part of the leadership. I think they are like yours, which you have also reached, and then many other science biomedical related associations and platforms. I think all these experts who are there are there especially for that purpose, to mentor the young ones to take over or to maybe move the science further. So the questioner who called in gave a bit more of clarification on what he had wanted to hear from us, as to whether the seniors are already making way for more of such opportunities to be created. I think it's not only about the seniors, every one of us, whether you're a student or you're a graduate sitting somewhere looking for jobs, I think it goes on all of us, because the system we are in now currently depicts perfectly any standard economic model, production model, where you have to put together the factors of production, and then you engage into them and do something with it. Now, as Madam indicated, because we've never had so many trained people at that level, but now we do have. But are we making that one known to even, for example, even to be able to reflect in our policy, national policies? Probably not. Where are the advocates? We are not. I think we are in our own very small corners, generating or producing graduates and hoping that somebody who sits there at the helm of affairs, national, who is engaged with so many responsibilities to create opportunities for schools, to create opportunities for agriculture, farmers, this and that, who also think about us and say, hey, we have so many expertise in science. therefore, let us do this. It goes on us. We have to initiate it. We have to. So if you have quality lecturers, we have quality graduates, PhD holders, people in pharmacy. So we can put them together for production at our own local level. But are we doing so? Probably not. That's the reason why people have the opportunity to travel abroad and they say, well, maybe here at least I can cite a number of them. I can try. But if you go to Ghana, some of these opportunities are not there. But who is to create that opportunity? I think we, as a scientist, or maybe groups like us, we also have to take interest in national policies. Where is a national policy that addresses the science of biomedical science and so on? That's not. So recently, that probably we had an act regulating the allied health and so on and so forth to be able to protect some opportunities for us. But that is not enough. I think we have to go a step further. That is why I'm advocating that it is not enough for us to really get ourselves prepared, ready as a scientist. But then the market, what is happening there, we must also find a means also to influence the market. And the only way we can influence the market is also to contribute to the national policy decisions, where we can also now realize that we don't need to import vaccines. We need companies to establish vaccines here. Where are the people to be able to do that? Man, there, we have them trained. We want to really do our own drugs here. Of course, the pharmaceuticals, they are here. We want to run many of these products that are imported or bought in or expertise bought, we have them. And I think probably the China as a nation had thought about it before they started training people all over the world. But if Ghana is not thinking about it, maybe we have to also come together, bring up this for national discussion. Tell us, currently, I don't have any paper that addresses how many of medical scientists that we have and the expertise that they have and how areas that they can fulfill, and even to be able to attract entrepreneurs to come in and utilize them for production. I don't think we have such papers or such works to be able to convince the public. So there's a lot of work we have to do. But once we get these things done, then which investor is not going to be happy to see that if I establish this kind of pharmaceutical company here to produce protein drugs and all that, those expertise that I need to bring them from Europe or from America are already here. Or some of them also originated from here and they are working elsewhere. They'll bring them back. It's even cheaper. I think as America is closing their borders to many of these nationals and maybe investors, probably it's an opportunity for us now as a country and expertise like us, medical science and our colleagues elsewhere, to also now team up, be stronger and influencing our national policy, so that more allocations is made towards creation of opportunity for such. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. If I may, before I hand over to Samuel and Tabitha, there's another question, and I want us to talk about networking, the value of networking. So this question is from one of our attendees who's asking, what opportunities are available for young COBREG members, especially those who have recently completed their bachelor's degrees? He goes on to say that many of us are eager to build our research skills, but currently do not have a PI to work with. Are there available opportunities for us to volunteer with existing PIs within the network? Before I hand this over to the panelists, you have to say that COBREG and other professional associations like Ghana Science Association that Prof mentioned, COBREG organizes annual conferences, and at these annual conferences, our members from both inside Ghana and outside of Ghana all show up. We have Dr. Essel here, who is here because of the connections and networking that COBREG has with our international members. What sometimes is a little sad is during these conferences, students' participation is not very active. And what I mean by that is you would expect students who are enthusiastic about the careers ahead of them to show up to these meetings where you have people inside the field and network with them, collect business cards, shoot them an email once in a while. That's how a lot of us get collaborators for grants. I can tell you a lot of members of COBREG got scholarship opportunities or grant opportunities outside because of these networks. So can you please elaborate on the value of networking, especially for our young up-and-coming researchers. Perhaps maybe we can start with Dr. Essel.
Okay, so networking, of course, is very important, right? But just to start from the tail end of the question, right? The person who asked the question seems to have an interest in doing something, but needs some guidance of some sort, right? So I don't know how things work in Ghana, and I don't know if say you can volunteer in a lab if you are not a student. I really don't know, and if maybe somebody could address that. But I've also heard mentioned that there are other institutions like CSIR and other places where I mean it's not an academic institution, it's a research institution, so maybe you don't have to be a student. So you have to consider those two, right? There could be a requirement to be a student before you can work in an university lab versus elsewhere. But having that zeal to want to improve yourself is great, and I'm sure you could get some good answers here, right? But as far as networking is concerned, right? So this is networking. We are networking right here. It's just how you work, you connect, because we don't have all of the dots connected. We don't know everybody, right? But just meeting one person, just talking to another person, or it builds that trust and that pathway that would lead you to somewhere, right? So I just also wanted to mention that the first time I ever presented a poster was at is it COBREG? Do you say COBREG?
Yes, that's COBREG. That's us.
Yeah, so yeah, the first time I ever presented a poster was at a conference at University of Ghana, I believe was in 2017, right? So this is a huge platform that you are on, right? And it helps you to get that connection made, right? So whenever I attended, I didn't know that before, but later on whenever I attended the conference, I spoke with people, but I got job offers, or I got interviews by just talking with people, because that's just how it is, right? I built up my LinkedIn profile, right, to create. So even if it's not in person, there's that virtual aspect of it. Like build your profile. I mean, I do LinkedIn, not so much of Instagram or the other social media, but LinkedIn is that professional outlook of who you are, right? And they suggest connections. Like if somebody has one connection that you can build it up. And again, I got interviews, I got job offers through that. So it is good that you are here, right? It is also good that you attend some of these events, right? And don't be like me when I was younger, because I always kept to myself, right? But be open to meet new people and really build that connection, right? As far as mentorship is concerned, because it was mentioned previously, like it has been very helpful to me as well. I see Dr. George Kwame, he's my mentor here. And we talk about work, right? But we also talk about politics sometimes. Like some mornings we go and talk about what is going on in Ghana, right? And if I have to, we sat down and pulled up flight information, tried to when I was looking for flight, like that is the level that your mentor is your serious work, but also somebody else you should be able to talk to. Like Dr. Quansah mentioned that that student didn't want to work for whatever reason, but it's if you build that connection, that good mentorship link, right? It transcends just research. It goes into other aspects, some social aspect as well. So you're helping yourself develop personally and professionally as well. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Perhaps Dr. Quansah can add a few more. But before Dr. Quansah comes in, I have a story. I think it was only 2 years ago, I was at a conference in Colorado, and I met a professor from Canada. During our conversation at lunch, he now mentioned that he had a Ghanaian student who had applied to his lab, and he was wondering if Ghanaian students would be hardworking. Now, as luck would have it, I actually knew the student who had applied. And so when we started talking, I essentially gave the man an informal reference letter right there and there, right? So just at lunch at the conference, the man made up his mind to accept the student. As soon as I was done talking to the man, I called the student immediately and told him that this is what's going to happen. He's going to get this offer, and he has to work hard so he doesn't disgrace us. But that's the power of networking. Sometimes after our conferences, I would go around and ask students, how many business cards did you collect? And the answer is not always very positive, but that's where we are. Dr. Quansah, did you have more to add? And please keep your questions coming.
Well, I just wanted to add a little bit on the networking that Dr. Essel talked about. So whilst he was talking, I just went to LinkedIn. I think he's oversubscribed, so I cannot ask him to be my friend, but I'm following him. So just to let the student know how powerful networking is. And again, on the same tangent, networking, there was someone that we were friends on LinkedIn. He completed his PhD in China. And then there was opening in UDS, I think 4 or 5 years ago. So I told him that there was opening, and he applied and he got it. So networking is very good as students, PhD, MPhil students, or even undergrad students. When you go to conferences, you should network even within the university. And also during vacations, I think you can even ask to work in the lab. I don't know how it works, but even Noguchi, those of you who are from UG, you could get letters from your HOD, go to Noguchi, because it also helps you to build your CV. Because currently, even if you're an undergrad applying for a PhD, especially outside, even though you think you just completed first degree, if they see that you have a publication, they will take you than someone who is even a first class without publication, because the whole idea is that, oh, this person is very prolific, because for the outside world, they communicate all their research work, so publication. So they want someone who is prolific. Okay, so if you completed with first degree and then they look at your CV and there is nothing to really to show after the education, but nothing, but someone with a very good class, but then have publication, is into leadership, community work and all that, they will just take that person. So I think that as students, you should also look at other things, both when you are the undergrad, to build your CV. So even publication, you can learn to write well. So you can even approach a lecturer in your faculty or department. Oh, are you writing something? Can I review for you? If you review and it's good, the person can add you, and that's how you get to build your portfolio. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tabitha? Okay, while we wait for the studio to join us, Prof. Twumasi, yes.
Okay, awesome. So we've had lots of questions coming in. We've had lots of takes from our panelists. I don't know if there are more questions. If there
So I think people would like to hear from Prof. Twumasi, who your mentor was, who mentored you.
Okay.
Everyone is curious.
Well, in terms of academic, biochemistry has been a pillar in my upbringing. Professor Zobefia, I think probably many may know her. She was, I think, the first full professor at KNUST. At some point, she was the first to have given a lecture. I think maybe probably the whole Ghana, I don't know, but she happened to be also trained as a biotechnologist, but it was a certificate course. But at the time, we didn't have so much of that expertise in the KNUST. And there was a particular course that had been developed as part of our bachelor program, and she had to happen to be the instructor. In fact, I got so impressed with the presentations and the vision. I mean, what the course, the particular area could do, impact it could make on agriculture. This is somewhere in the 90s, very early 90s, when the biotechnology was at its very early phase. I got quite impressed, and later I consulted her. And then she also took interest in my ambition, assisted me to be able to, and guided me to be able to get into the postgraduate program in biotechnology herself at the KNUST. But then I think we lacked the capacity at the time to train. And so she helped so much to be able to link me up to other officers abroad. Luckily, I was able to secure admission at one of the universities in the Netherlands, where I did. And I think it wasn't also surprised that immediately after that, I also knew how impactful that kind of program could also make on our training, and I came back. So ever since she has always been like a mother to me, not only academic for discussion, but in personal issues where I had to consult and seek advice. Sometimes I had the opportunity to also be at her house. So I think mentoring is kind of a friendship you establish with maybe a more elderly person with much experience in where you decide to go. Maybe I think that opportunity that I had, I also needed to also extend it to so many other young people. That's the way. So I think it's there. People have better understanding of mentoring and what they can give, experiences that they've had locally and abroad. And these are all very helpful. I think for biochemistry department, where I belong at KNUST, I think we don't take that one lightly. We right from the beginning, when the student is admitted, you are assigned to a person to be able to encourage you. And then, of course, you have that flexibility also to establish some relationship with other senior members who have set experience to be able to guide you to your target. So I think it's been quite interesting about that.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. I'll throw in the last question to Dr. Lydia Quansah. Okay, so this is a bit of what we've been talking about, but we figured it would be something interesting to talk about before we close the chapter on you specifically. So as someone who has helped shape institutional policies like the intellectual property policy at UDS, how important do you think it is for early career researchers to understand IP rights and research commercialization?
Thank you for the question. I think when it comes to the life sciences, IP rights is very important. I think up until very few years ago, probably we don't take it very serious when it comes into the research area. But when you go outside, I mean, once someone is doing a research, the most important thing they also think about is patenting. So you find in my, the institute where I did my postdoc in Agricultural Research Institute in Israel, there is a professor who actually patented a protocol for developing colors from grape peels. So he has a patent for developing colors. Apparently, it can be used in the pharmaceutical industry. So it's very important that as postgraduate students, we get to understand the whole idea of intellectual property rights, right? Even from undergrad, because your thesis counts, everything. So for us in UDS, it is becoming something very important that we take it serious. So we developed the IP policy a few years ago. During the development, we saw that all the other universities had it. So in fact, we took from KNUST, from UG, UCC, and then so we actually saw that the other universities were even way ahead of us. And for now, we are even developing a university-wide course in intellectual property and entrepreneurship. And for all levels, undergrad, postgraduate, because we want them to understand it, that you have to own your work, and your work can actually benefit you. Eventually, you can even commercialize it and it will make money. I'm sure Dr. Essel will tell us the pharmaceutical companies, it's very important. And in Ghana, we have the opportunity, in fact, because, you know, we have not developed much and there is so much when it comes to microbial biotechnology. I mean, there are so many microbes that I'm sure we've not touched on. Look at our medicinal plants, we've not touched on. And there is so much. And if we do not put those things in place, we'll sit here and people will come and take our intellectual property away, and they would rather go and patent it. I don't know if any of you have come across this story, but injera, I've forgotten the plant that the Ethiopians make injera from, but that plant actually grows only in that region. Wageningen, I don't know whether Professor Twumasi would have heard about this story. Wageningen went to Ethiopia, took that plant, went and tried to develop more variety of it in greenhouse, and they wanted to patent it. Can you imagine? And why can they do that? They can do this because probably the country did not have measures to make sure that no one comes and take your plant materials away without proper, accounting. So anyone comes into your country, take your property away, and then nothing. So intellectual property is very important for the life sciences. And I think in Ghana, we have that. I mean, we do not have so many private companies. I think that was the question that Evans asked. Once you finish PhD, what next? If it's not the academia, then I mentioned that there is a CSIR. But these are the areas that we can start developing. And one thing that we do not do well as a country is probably like consortium like COBREG coming together so that those who are working, they can now source money themselves and then start like a pharmaceutical company trying to, look at our plants, the herbal plants in Ghana. And I'm sure with biochemistry, we can find so many things, but it's always that we sit down and rely on what's the developed country bring us, and then we use it. And we all can see a lot of the medicine we are using now comes from India. India has developed so much. And I think in Ghana, we can also do a lot. So intellectual property, it's something that every graduate student, undergrad, postgraduate, we should take it very serious. And institutions should also strengthen their intellectual property policy in order to guide, research that is done there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Quansah, for that note. Well noted. Dr. Essel, I would like to ask you, so beyond the lab, are there other skill sets that's beyond the lab? Are there other skill sets that are imperative for young ones to learn and acquire to face the world and what is ahead?
So there's always the what they call soft skill sets, right? Or soft skills, because you have to exist not in a vacuum, but in all of this, like interacting with people and making things happen, right? So you want to develop those skills, like they talk of adaptability, they talk of communication skills, critical thinking skills, right? Problem solving skills, working in a team, and a whole lot, right? So adaptability is, I guess, to learn to to adapt to different situations and different opportunities, right? So we talked about maybe in the next decade or so, there's a shift that we are seeing now that may define everything that we do. So how do you adapt, or how do you get ready, right? It's to learn to know the times and then to prepare yourself for that, right? So there's also, right, so you need to develop those soft human skills, like communication skills, like whatever you do, whether you are interviewing for a position or communicating your science, right? Because the benefit of the science that we have, we do, and then we are so passionate about is the ability to communicate, right? So the I guess part of the problem is, you know, these policymakers or these investors do not see how important our science is, perhaps because we don't communicate those very well, right? So we really have to learn to do that. Here in the US, if you got, say, an NIH grant, you have to have 2 abstracts or two descriptions of what you want to do, right? So there's the hardcore or the science abstract, and then there is the layman's abstract. So and that is how, like, that is explain your science to somebody who is not a scientist, who is not no, has been to school before, or something like that. So you need to have the skills, right? You need to have those communicative skills, and understand that we are trying to solve a certain problem in life, regardless of what you're doing, right? So have those critical thinking skills and problem thinking skills as well. And because I trained as a pharmacist, right? So empathy is part of me. I think it should be a part of everybody, because it's just what makes us human, right? To learn to understand other people, and all of that. And yeah, but also take opportunities, like seek out and then and take opportunities, seize whatever opportunity that you will be presented to you. And that to me is a skill. Being here, choosing to be here is you taking a step, right? And to capitalize on that, right? This is a network. You can build up on it, and then seize whatever opportunities that come your way. And lastly, hard work, which Dr. Twumasi talked about. That's how you succeed, right? Work hard. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Essel. Lastly, I want to ask you about, you see any link between research and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I wanted to bring this up in response to the first question that we had, and Dr. Quansah alluded to it somehow. Right? So there are a lot of startups here in the US. Like, so it's not really gonna wait for biotech to employ me, or it's just, and the example I have is from the colleague I met at this training event I was at. So the company was started by 2 people, right? So somebody who knew some biomedical research, somebody who knew machine learning, AI, and stuff, and then they just had the startup, and I mean, they are getting funding from Meta, from other pharmaceutical industry. Now I can see that starting a company is not easy. It appears to be a bit more easy here because there are angel investors around. People have money and looking to spend it, right? But regardless, it's a way, having this skill, research skills. It's a way of starting off in as an entrepreneur. Like you could, if we could figure a way out, right? If we could have maybe two, three professors or research scientists come together, solve a problem. If we could figure a way out of how to get the money, and then getting the money may, I don't know, but maybe as simple as having a business idea to take to a bank. It could be, I'm not so sure about it. So to get something that you can call your own and put a patent to it is a way of you starting off of a certain company or something. So yeah, so there is a huge link between the two. Yeah.
Essel. So now to Prof. Twumasi. Our last question to you. A little birdie told us that you were once Director General of the National Sports Authority. And you were also heading an academic department. So we want to know how you balance leadership, policy engagement, and scientific research. What really did this role teach you?
Yeah, well, I think we're, all of us members on the panel have actually diagnosed our sickness or illness. It's about funding. Science thrives well with funding. If you have funding, the kind of product that we have produced from all the institutions in Ghana, they are super quality. I mean, I'm sure Doc will tell you that among his peers, I think he's standing out. And every Ghanaian talks about this. When you find yourself elsewhere to compete with the other nationals, Ghana is always outstanding. But then when we come back, why is it that our works are not really outshining others? And I think the whole thing is about the funding, the support that is offered to our science and our research. And for us to be able to do so, then I think that you, the scientists who expect to have the best of these environments or laboratories to work and the fields, I think you can't opt out of the decision making. And that has guided me. So wherever I find myself, I will do the science, I'll do the research, I'll do the teaching, but I never overlook the importance of contributing to the policy, the decision making. It has always been my Ghana principle. I must be at the top there to contribute to or influence how monies are apportioned for the period. I think when I was in KNUST, I think it didn't take long. I became professorial member to academic board, and I think I was very vocal. I made sure certain things are done right to be able to really solve problems that are identified at the bottom there. And I think the same way, I think I took it a bit higher because I know that if our science in Ghana will get more attention, then I think that you have to be also at the top, maybe a bit of politics, but it is very key. Maybe what we lack, and maybe in future probably we may have a different forum to discuss, how can we equip our products that are living in institutions with also that mindset of being able to contribute to policy decisions. I think that scientists we lack. And I think normally we are even prevented from entering into those fields. They say, oh, you are scientists, what are you doing in politics? Why are you in administration? You stay in the lab. But the guy who is deciding how much you work with, it's not with you in the lab. So do you think that he will consider you? And that is what is happening. Our funding is not coming We have the best of brains. I think Madam has talked about it. My brother in the US can attest to it. Everybody who comes out of the university and elsewhere is performing excellently. So why are we not also at the head of affairs to be able to decide how much? That took me. So I think the National Sports Authority wasn't my intention to get there. But of course, whichever area of administration and of governance that you find yourself, then you can rub shoulders with all those who make the big decisions. And that's what I took it. And also I realized that many of the people who are also working at the National Sports Authority, I mean, about sports, they are young ones, the youth, some probably have had opportunity to be educated higher, others have missed education. In that case, I could make an impact there. And I think during my time, we were able to create more opportunities, to be able to link up with all the universities to create some aspect of research, which they never even thought of it. Because all the equipment that we use, all the facilities we are using in Ghana, everything is imported, but they are all made by scientists and technocrats. But we never had understanding of that. I look into the law and say, oh, there's a place for research, so you can collaborate. There's a place you can create opportunity for people to come and do internship. And as we speak now, lots of, I think KNUST has signed agreement with KNUST, with UG, with the UCC. Probably we missed that of the UDS. But all these have spaces to be able to send their students for either internship or for mentoring. And then we took advantage of that relationship to employ many of them. I think before I left, we employed about 250 young graduates, and they are serving so many different areas. And I never overlooked the importance of science. They say, the sports, why scientists? Because the sports is science. The biomedicals can play a role. The doping and all that is not science. Even for you to be able to get the best of athletes, the genetics aspect of it, the performance and all that, it's not science. But over the years, we overlooked. So you can imagine. But I think that helped. So as I have indicated, I will not only be serving enough just to be in the lab, but to take on. As for combining research and academics, it's not very difficult. I think we all have the 24 hours. If you're a scientist, how many of the 24 hours do you use for the lab? I think there's a lot of fun. There's lots of activities, research, we go for conferences, do the conference work, how many presentations do you make? So scientists have so much time. If you really plan to really make yourself available, you can still combine very serious administrative work, governance, plus the science. But in this case, we're able to make more impact, I think that's the way to go. And I encourage more people to be able to do that. We have, I think, so much time that we utilize less, and the surplus of it probably maybe for our own personal happiness. But I think we can also allocate all those ones also to be part of the decision making. I think if that can work, I'm sure make a way. So I encourage the young ones, do your science, do the research. But once you have this kind of information, then you are ready to be able to discuss at the top there. Why should we put money to be able to improve maybe a certain food, to be able to improve upon health, and you know how to do it? But then the decision to either to really bring the food from outside, from China or from where, you are not part of it. You think they will come to you. So that's the way to go. So I think that people should not be discouraged by the load of work if you combine research, teaching, and administration. Madam, I think, I'm sure, even as we are speaking now, she's also attending to many other things in her office. I once head of department. It's quite challenging, but I think you can still get it done. You can do it. Those who really get themselves engaged with administration together with the research and others, I think I haven't seen any difference. I even spent my time even more efficiently than if I were not even to combine with this. And at the time I was in the National Sports Authority, I was still publishing. I was still advising PhD students, advising the master's students. I collaborated on so many research ways. So I think for scientists, I must say, sharp, very intelligent, and a little bit of that time to be able to really influence policies to let flow many of these resources that you need. I think
Thank you very much. That was a brilliant question and an even more brilliant answer. So we are coming to the end of the program. So I think we will take just one more submission from each panelist, your best advice for the young ones who are coming up now. Before we take that response, I would like to tell everybody a little bit about some upcoming COBREG plans. So for those who are new to COBREG, COBREG stands for the Convention for Biomedical Research Ghana. And this is an organization that is transforming the landscape of science and health across Ghana. We are a very vibrant interdisciplinary network of biomedical scientists, clinicians, engineers, public health professionals, educators, people from all different biomedical professional careers. And we join together in a shared commitment to scientific capacity building and community transformation. We also do a lot of national and international advocacy. We have national and international partnerships. We have mentorship programs. We organize a lot of workshops quite frequently and community outreach programs. Essentially, our goal is to bridge the gap between local talent and global opportunity. And that's why we want everyone to be a member. So everyone here, if you're not already a member, please visit our website at www.cobreg.com. That's COBREG, cobreg.com, and sign up to become a member. You can simply join to become a member with as little as 50 cedis. That's less than $4. Dr. Essel will tell you that's less than a cup of coffee from Starbucks. And so please register to become a member. This year, we are having our annual conference at the University of Cape Coast from August 20th to 22nd. Please put that in your calendar. We will be sure to invite Prof. Twumasi, Dr. Essel, and Dr. Quansah. In fact, we'll buy Dr. Essel's ticket for him if he doesn't want to bring him down. So you might be able to meet him in person. We'll also, perhaps we will even send a plane to go and bring Dr. Quansah as well. But we'll be having our conference at the University of Cape Coast from August 20th to 22nd. So very soon you will see the call for abstracts. Please submit your abstracts. Come and tell us about your science. Even if you don't have some abstracts, come there and meet people. There will be participants from all over the world, from Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, US. You'll be able to interact with all these people from different institutions as well. So I'd encourage everyone to visit our website at cobreg.com for more. So that's what we have for you. So just a few minutes, some sound bites. Your best piece of advice for our young ones. Should we start with Dr. Quansah? Ladies first.
Thank you very much. So what I would like to tell our upcoming scientists is that know that there is no shortcut in life. Few days ago, we had a memo from GTech advising universities, and so I'm sure Prof. Twumasi and others from the other university might have seen it, that a lot of PhD students are actually using, is it ghostwriters or thesis writers for their thesis? So they were advising that universities should take notice of that. So I was actually discussing it with my senior research assistant, and I was telling him that, oh, for those of us in the sciences, I'm not so sure that anyone can do that because you actually need to do the research in the lab and the reports. And then he told me that, yeah, even if they don't do with the research, but the introduction, the literature review, they are still using AI or even hiring people to write. But one thing I want to tell you is that you learn through the process whilst you are writing. That's the only way you can learn. So if you really want to see yourself to be a good scientist anywhere, and I think one of the panelists mentioned that in the life sciences, I don't want to only limit it to biomedical life sciences, there is so many opportunities. So if you want to see yourself out there, you need to learn through the process. So you need to do the research, write the introduction. There is AI tools, which Dr. Essel talked about. And now a lot of students, when you give even class assignment, they just put the topic in any of the AI tools, ChatGPT, even WhatsApp, there is a Meta AI is there. So people just put it there. And the problem is that students turn in their assignments, and you see that they just copied and then pasted and sent to you. They didn't even read to make corrections. And AI is not perfect, especially when it comes to references. Most of the references it gives you, if you go to Google Scholar or any of the databases to check, it doesn't exist. So as students, whether undergrad or postgraduate, please, it takes time, but then you learn through the process and you become better. So do the science, don't conjure results. Even if it's a negative result, it's a result. That is what it gave you. That's why it's biology. You never know what you get. So do the research, report the correct finding. Do the sleepless nights, write it, because as you are writing, as you are doing the research, that's where you learn. And Dr. Essel talked about skills that you can get. So critical thinking, and these are all things you learn along the line. And I always tell people that I'm so thankful that I get to go abroad to do my master's and PhD because I learned so much, and it's really kind of refined you. But currently, I mean, the expertise are here. There are so many PhD holders in Ghana. There are so many professors, and the capacity is here to build on. So once you are in the process of studying, whether you are undergrad or postgraduate student, learn. And sometimes you can approach even your lecturers and ask them to be mentors. But remember, if you want them to mentor you, they will ask you to do things so that they will know that you are serious. So probably sometimes they will give you that, go and do a literature review for me, and this. So do that so that the person will know that you are serious and you are a person that they can really mentor. And then again, also just avail yourself. Ask a lecturer, please, are you writing a paper? Do you want me to do editing? These are the small things that you do, that you put yourself out there. I think Professor Twumasi, or I don't know, about meeting someone who was asking about the hardworking of Ghanaians, and then he happened to know the person and then referred. You think if the student he knew was a lazy student, he wouldn't have given the reference and the student wouldn't have gotten the scholarship. So it takes a lot of time. And also sometimes I know, and I think Dr. Essel was saying, I was also like that. I mean, it wasn't easy for me to approach people. It takes time. But now you can even sit in your room, use your phone and learn how to make friends, how to approach people. Learn all those things. When you hear of conferences, attend, network, talk to people, and that will make you become a very good scientist. And I mean, all of us, some of us are in our 40s. So in the next 15 years, we are heading out. Some of you are still in your 20s. So in the next few years, you are joining us. You are becoming the scientists. And let's see, Ghana becoming best, and not always us relying on the so-called developed countries to do things and then we take steps, but it will be rather the opposite. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful advice. Let's proceed with Dr. Essel, and then Prof. Twumasi will wrap up with his advice.
Okay, so all I would say is keep being curious and take opportunities. And so what the curiosity will do is, it will make you seek out opportunities, right? And when you have those, take advantage of good opportunities. Take advantage of these networking opportunities that we talked about, and even when you are where you need to be, right? So the curiosity is what will make you want to still advance. Like you're curious. There's something else that has to be found out, or there's another thing you could do to explain this phenomenon and all of that. So just keep being curious. Take advantage of whatever opportunities, or I'd say good opportunities, that come your way.
Keep being curious. That's excellent advice. Prof. Twumasi, please, your final word for
all right.
people.
So first of all, thank you, COBREG, right?
Yes,
I once
COBREG.
heard of it. Well, wasn't the same convention, Ghana Biomedical Convention? It used to be a long time ago.
That's right. That was the
So
former
it's
name, and then it
metamorphosed
was
to
changed.
this. Oh, you've done so well.
Yes.
I commend you. I think you created a platform to be able to mobilize such expertise and share ideas with younger ones. I think kudos to you and your team. I think you've said a lot to the up and coming biomedical scientists. I think you've shared a lot. For me, number one, hardworking. And wherever you find yourself, work hard. You should excel. I mean, be outstanding, outshine the others. That mentality should be there. I think once we have it, then the rest, people may be worried about, oh, we are producing so many of biomedical scientists and they are not finding jobs. I think it's not true. If you look at per capita in terms of biomedical scientists to serve about 30 million Ghanaians, I think we are nowhere close to, I mean, the standard. So we still need to produce more. But I think for any economic production scale, you need the factors. You are all becoming the factors. But then once we have had so many of them, I think we should be able to also advocate for more investments, more people to be attracted into the area, to establish companies, laboratories, and stations, and institutions. I think once all these are available, then you realize that, well, I mean, number actually is even below the expectation, and therefore more people have to be produced. Maybe what we are lacking currently is the fact that there are not many to admit, but we shouldn't worry, because investors and people, and even including the government, they are all looking for such human capacity. Once they know that this capacity available, they get attracted to it, establish, because they can get the personnel to be able to. Maybe the last advice I want to give to those who were able to listen to us, or even all scientists, is that if you're a scientist, you must have that mentality of versatility. You should be ready for everything. Don't only be narrow in terms of your application of expertise, but I think a bit wider, because you might have been probably maybe trained to be for the lab analysis of whatever kind of situation. But I think probably you could also even function very well when it comes to nutrition and so on and so forth. So in the competitive market like this, scientists needs to go a little bit outside what the scope, what they think that they have been produced for. Because after all, that's the more reason why you were made to select courses from various diverse backgrounds, and that equipped you to be able to really diversify and look for opportunities. Don't restrict yourselves to only one particular lab. I want to become maybe a forensic scientist, and if there's no forensic science development or opportunities, then I stay home. No, you can do a lot. Some can even cross even to other areas a bit unrelated, like agri, biotechnology, and areas like that. So I think that aspect of versatility is needed for all of us. Did the same, and then don't wait for the external help to come before you function. I think that's one also something that you should be able to. It doesn't matter how much little that you can organize, how you can collaborate with your own peers and secure for very few things. Look at the problem and how little that you can organize to be able to make an impact, and then you grow out of that. So if big grants don't come, don't worry. If big jobs don't come, start something on your own, that little that you have, and in no time, you also be speaking on platform like this. All of us did the same, and I think we never regret it. I wish you all the best. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Twumasi. So you're right. Hard work is everything. So thank you very much. We have a few last-minute questions coming in, but people want to know more about our panelists. Some people want to contact our panelists and become COBREG members. I have to tell you that if you want to become a COBREG member, please visit our website, COBREG, COBREG.com, COBREG.com, and click on membership, and you can register to become a member. There is a small a membership fee, as little as 50 cedis can make you a member. So please visit our website and register to become a member. If you would like to know more about our panelists or even contact them, we cannot share their contacts on the platform right now, but we will provide information about our speakers on our website if you want to know more about them. And then if you have want to collaborate with them on research or talk to them more, there will be information on the website as well. So on behalf of COBREG, on behalf of our president, Dr. Oksana Rabinina, who has been quietly listening from the beginning, we would like to, and the entire board of COBREG, we would like to thank Professor Peter Twumasi, Dr. Leslie Essel, and Dr. Lydia Quansah for honoring the invitation to talk to us today. I'll be remiss if I don't mention our two hosts also, Samuel Atatonimevo and Tabitha Osiban Fojwo, who have done an excellent job. They are also scientists in training and took this challenging opportunity to engage our panelists when many were too afraid to do so. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to all the attendees who joined. We had a lot of registrations, and I have to say that at the height of the conversation, we had a lot of people coming in and going out, but we had a lot of people attending and listening. There will be a recording of this conversation on the COBREG website, so please visit the COBREG website if you want to listen to the conversation again. So once again, thank you very much, Prof. Twumasi, Dr. Essel, and Dr. Quansah. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we hope that you will join COBREG again in future events. In fact, we will invite you for future events. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me. And you can share my email if people want it. I thought I could put it in the chat, but I can't. But it's okay to share my email with participants.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll have all that available on the website. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can do the same. I think for us, our contacts are already all over on the internet, but share with them the email.
Okay.
WhatsApp as well.
Okay, sure thing. We'll do that. So these are all opportunities for mentorship. So for the people listening, these are all people you can mentor with who have been where you have been before. So thank you all very much for joining us, and we hope to see you at the next COBREG event. Enjoy the rest of your day.